City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Sunday Dare is a veteran Nigerian journalist. He was born on the 29th of May, 1966. He had a secondary school education at Baptist High School in Jos from 1978 to 1983. Shortly afterwards, he studied for an advanced level education at Oyo State College of Arts and Science, Ile-Ife. He thereafter gained admission to Ahmadu Bello University, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science honors in International Studies in 1991 and a Master of Arts degree, MA, in Law and Diplomacy from the University of Jos in 1996. In his early days as a journalist, Sunday Dare multitasked as a correspondent with several foreign publications, including The Nation magazine in New York, as well as working with the European-backed Fourth Estate magazine as a production editor during the military interregnum in Nigeria. Other journalistic roles Dare took on during the military era in Nigeria included being a pioneer member of the Nigerian weekly magazine, The News, and also The Temple, serving as an editor, Temple magazine, and as pioneer online editor. He has worked in diverse aspects of both the electronic and print media and has had a lot of experience in multimedia journalism spanning over 25 years. He currently serves as Executive Commissioner, Stakeholder Management, Nigerian Communications Commission. Well, since then, it would be wrong to say he currently serves because he's now Minister of Youth and Sports Development. But while serving as the Chief of Staff and Advisor on Media to former Lagos State Governor, which was his previous position before he was called to higher duties in Abuja. He was special advisor to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He was also the brain behind the birth of Social Media Clinic, a media information technology new media program which was aimed at providing information as well as educating private citizens on IT development and sensitizing the members of the public on usage of new media as a tool for building a responsive society. Sunday Dare has been a Freedom Forum Fellow, visiting scholar also at the School of Journalism, New York University. He's been Harvard Nieman Journalism Fellow at Harvard University. That was between 2000 and 2001. He was Senior Special Assistant Media to the Minister of Information and Communications in 2009. And while serving in that capacity, he managed subjects, policies that fell within the jurisdiction of the ministry. He's been Chief, Outside Service, African Division at the Voice of America, VOA, in Washington, D.C. between 2001 to 2009. Well, here we have with us the Minister of Youth and Sports Development. If I continue to read out his profile, we will not leave here today. But he's here with us, and we're very grateful that he has chosen to honor our invitations. Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, thank you for joining us on City Talks with Reuben Abati.
Thank you, Reuben, my brother. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, let's go straight into the heart of the matter. Well, I guess it would be correct to say that your ministry is in the eye of the storm. The big story out there in Nigeria today is about the youths of Nigeria. These youths who are angry, who are hungry, and who have made every effort in the last 2 weeks to show their discontent with the Nigerian state, the Nigerian society, and with the Nigerian government. But President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday addressed these same youths, and he says he has heard them loud and clear, and that the government is ready to engage with these youths to address the iconic, original 5 demands that they talked about. Well, you are Minister of Youth and Sports Development. What is the plan on the ground to engage with the youths of Nigeria?
Thank you very much. So I was just kind of giving a background, also commending our youth for being very organized. They want the last this very easy to perform. But also, for the demands that made our government, and which government has agreed to and will respond to. Some reforms started, some actions have been taken. Like I said, when you look at it, it's a process. And what we have to do, all of us, is to be vigilant, to be accountable, to make sure that this pipeline is later. I think the number one demand is end out, which has been done, and the reforms started, the investigations necessary have started, prosecution continues, and I think that in good faith, government in good faith intends to make sure one. But beyond that, we have seen other issues come to the fore that matter value, a greater attention. Government come to terms with the program to support our youth must be deepened. And my brother Reuben, the last time we checked, between the last 5.5 years, this government has put together 25 youth-focused programs, done in about 7 ministries and 9 agencies and departments, 25 youth-focused programs. And in fact, we have put out all of those details. And one of them, which everybody knows about, which the first batch, 500,000, are just completed. Another batch of 100,000, the onboarding of the 400 will start shortly.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, are you still with me? I was going to ask you a follow-up question where it looks like we lost telephone connection with the Honorable Minister there. We're trying to make an effort to reconnect with him. And I'm sure that if you are listening to the program, many of you will have your viewpoints also, your comments on what has transpired in the last 2 weeks in the city of Lagos and in other parts of Nigeria. In the southern parts of Nigeria, we have had protests called #EndSARS, and with the federal government acceding to the 5 demands put forward by Nigerian youths. And again, after that, we have had the ugly situation of the infiltration of the protest, the peaceful protest, by persons who have been variously described as miscreants, looters, hoodlums. Some people say, well, you can't really make a distinction because those so-called miscreants and hoodlums are also Nigerian citizens, and they're young people who are just simply angry and have been expressing their anger in various ways. People have also said that, well, perhaps if government had attended more carefully, more strategically to the interests of the young people of Nigeria, who constitute the majority of the Nigerian population, give them jobs, ensure that the schools are open, give them opportunities, ensure that they have hope, maybe perhaps there will not be so many young soldiers on the streets of Nigeria challenging the state, challenging the community, challenging government. But it looks like we have the minister back on the line. Hello?
Yes, I'm back on the line.
Okay, excellent. Well, I mean, you said quite a lot in the course of this conversation. But how does government intend to deal with the problem of mistrust? Because at the basis of this, it's all about the fact that young Nigerians do not trust government. 5 demands were placed before the federal government. The federal government said, oh, these 5 demands are in order. You, as Minister of Youth Development, you had a meeting with the president. And you came out of that meeting and you told us that the president understands the concerns of young Nigerians and that steps will be taken to address the injustice pointed out with regard to police brutality. But the young portions of Nigeria refuse to leave the streets. They remain at the barricades. They say they do not trust this government. What do you think the problem is, really?
Well, I think that it's important to recognize that if demands are made on the government of the day, and recall, my brother, we're under constitutional democracy, and there's a government in place. There's a rule of law. We're guided by a constitution. So if the government is recognized as the government of the day, the jury government, and demands are made on the government, and the same government responds instantly, not just me as minister, but the president acceding to the demands put forth, and then going ahead to demonstrate, to make those responses effectual in a demonstrable way. I think it's important that there is distrust, but there must also be good faith. There must be an interface. If you recall, some of us have been through this. For 9 years, we fought military dictatorship. That was, illegal regimes from Babangida to Abacha. And we had protests. We fought with our pen. This time there was the fight with the smartphone and all of that. But then we also had representation. We had NADECO. We had civil society groups come together. We had the CLO. And we organized. And then we interfaced and we engaged. So, yes, I agree. There has been a deficit in trust. But we also have a government that's been trying, and a leader, the president, that's been trying to break that trust. And that's why the peaceful process, as guaranteed under our Constitution, Section 40, is fully supported by the government and by the president. Expressly so, that the rights of our youth and of Nigerians have been issued to protest peacefully, peacefully, for a fundamental right. And that right was respected. Now, for 14 days, we never had an escalation. The protest went on everywhere, except for a few exceptions. Stray bullets there, people injured there. But we didn't have the kind of escalation we saw from the day 15 when there was a clear hijack and infiltration. And I think that there was some level give government time to respond and concretize the reforms. It's going to take time. Like I said earlier, when you look at beyond the 5 demands, the call for good governance and some other changes that are needed, they're going to take time, but some of them will take administrative responsibility. Some of them will need executive orders. Some of them will need legislation. So when it comes to legislation for office, there's a process that we must follow. When it comes to administration, there's also a process, and we're sitting under administration. The president has activated various levels of government to respond personally to say, this is what he made to do. I think this less than 3 weeks. No government can meet all demands in 3 weeks. Reform, for instance, the surgical, critical operation of changes in an institution. To reform an institution that's been existing for over 50 years, where you have had abuses, etc. It's going to take beyond 3 weeks. If we say we'll complete reforms in 3 weeks, then that's not sincerity. But then the government will be upfront about the processes of reform. And we've seen it. We've seen 36 officers retired already. We've seen officers being taken to honorary trial. In Lagos, we have 27 of them be put down by the Ministry of Justice for violation of human rights in Lagos State. In Ogun State, we have the same thing. And panel. We have the judicial panel of inquiry being set up by all states as directed. And I think that the state must be given and let's happen to our protest, to the action, and that's what our engagement. I think so that all of us can monitor the process.
Youth and sports development. The president addressed the country. That was early Wednesday, right? Today is Saturday, or early Thursday in the evening. But many Nigerians are disappointed. They were expecting a speech, an address, a broadcast that will give them hope, address the key issues. But in that address, the president seemed to have relied on warnings, threats, And, the speech sounded like a denial of reality. How did that happen? How did you feel as someone who has been in the media industry for more than 25 years and whose job at a point was to measure media responses to public communication from the government side? Was it that somebody just wrote that speech and dumped it on the president and there was no input from stakeholders? You are a major stakeholder in this matter, Minister of Youth and Sports Development. Did anybody consult you at all? I had asked you a question. Did you have any input into that broadcast that was made on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. by President Muhammadu Buhari? You've been the minister in charge of youth development, and your constituency been in the eye of the storm.
Thank you so much, Reuben. I said it's like trading places. You know quite well that you are a well-respected and experienced editor, journalist, and prolific writer. And beyond that, you've also served as a spokesperson of the former president. So I'm sure you know how this works, how this comes about. But I listened to the speech. I've read it a number of times. And if you permit me, I think that there's a lot for Nigerians and for our youth in this speech. From what I've read, I see a section that gave timelines and steps of government action. A section dealt with the lack of faith in the Nigerian government, which the government needed to do something about. Another section dealt with youth development and poverty alleviation initiatives of the Buhari administration. Another part dealt with the issue of upgrade of salaries and also the promise to improve the welfare of the police. Another part dealt with the obligations and powers of government. Another part dealt with largely, sprinkled all over, government's appeal to the youth. And of course, what we had is also the regret, the consolation, and over the killings and the destruction and the casualty. So, those are the nuggets in the speech. And of course, the part that caught my attention most was when he said, I'm deeply, deeply pained that innocent lives have been lost and that these tragedies were uncalled for and unnecessary. The president also supported and recognized the fundamental rights, right from the beginning, from Mr. President. It was a speech that was needed at that time to be able to cool down free nerves, to show that government was ready to do what is necessary in terms of meeting the demands of our youth, in terms of deepening the reforms in the police, in terms of also making sure that justice was served. The reforms, the investigations, the panels have been set up. And, like I said, all the levels of government that are important to all of this have since been activated with clear instructions on what to do.
Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development, we're going now to throw open our lines so that, people who have been listening to you in Lagos and across the world can be part of the conversation. If you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700-1051. Or you can leave comments on WhatsApp 09099164403 and on our social media accounts at City1051 on Twitter, Facebook, and Zoom. So, Honorable Minister, somebody is already on the line. Please go ahead. Your name, your location, and please keep it very brief.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dr. Reuben Abati.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah. My name is Godwin from Lekki. The question that I have for the Honorable Minister is that the question you're asking is not really answered directly. But that aside, the only thing I want to ask, why the denial of the shooting, despite all that people have seen, the footage and everything? Why are they still denying that there was nothing like that? So that's just my concern. At least the government should be able to own up to some things, and that will even dash tension. And just to say, okay, we have seen that something like this happened, but we need to investigate how come about it. When government continue to deny, people will not have faith in the government. That's just my concern, and I want the minister to address it. Thank you.
Minister, you heard him.
Yes, can I respond quickly?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, if you back up, about 3 days ago, the army actually responded and ordered an investigation. The army authorities ordered an investigation immediately. The president also, when he met with the National Security Council on Thursday, also requested for further investigation beyond what happened in Lekki, but also a thorough investigation of the entire breakdown that we had and infiltration. So there's no denial, but it's also important to have all the facts. For Mr. President, having all the facts will be critical to serving the cause of justice, and that's what we want, so that those that are really guilty will pay for their acts and their activities. So the army authorities have announced an investigation with the knowledge of Mr. President. Mr. President also, at the National Security Council, also asked for other security agencies to also conduct an investigation. And I think that investigation is ongoing, and I think the Nigerian people will have the benefit of that investigation. I did say, this president has integrity, believes in the rule of law. He's also been a protester before. He's been tear gassed and the rest of them. He's been to court several times. So he knows that he has to serve the cause of justice. I just want to plead for patience that we need to do this thing right so that we have all the facts. And I think having all the facts will serve even the interests of Nigerians at large.
Well, Minister Dare, we have a gentleman here on Twitter, Owuade Olaoluwa at Olaolu Owuade 1. He says, I'm delighted to hear my countryman from Ogbomoso, Mr. Atsonde Dare SD. What are your plans for visionary youths striving to make Nigeria great again?
Thank you very much. I think that's a question that I think will resonate with virtually all the youth. And, I've just been minister for about 13 months. And like I said, the last time we checked, we have 25 youth-focused programs. Of course, 2 or 3 of them are with the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, while the others are in various ministries, about 7 ministries. That document has been put out. But what government has done with this development is to make sure that the awareness and the spread of this information and these opportunities is widespread, so that our youth can know that these opportunities are out there and they can apply themselves to these opportunities. Let me speak to the one that I think is the most recent. In July this year, the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund was established, the very first of its kind, an investment fund, like a development fund, that is dedicated to investing in the innovative ideas, in the skills and talents and enterprise of our youth. Now, this fund, every Nigerian youth who comes forward with an idea can apply and get funding between 250,000 to 50 million. And this just started last week because we have to accelerate it. Approval was given in July, and the process has started. You see, between July and September, we were able to quickly put together what was necessary. And when we just started last upper week, less than a week, we had almost 750,000 applications, and that process is ongoing. The Empower onboarding is going to come on very, very shortly. And there are quite a number of other initiatives and programs, which, of course, I'm not sure I can list them, but we'll put them on our website. Just yesterday, we announced that a help line or a help desk will now be open in the next 1 week at the ministry. And the help desk will run 24 hours, such that our youth can call in case you want information about opportunities, in case you have applied and you find it difficult to get through your applications, just questions. And then in case you have suggestions about things you think that is important for you and the youth in your community and area, that help desk will be dedicated to the youth of our country. But I think that what's important, if you allow me, we have the Empower, we have the NTech, we have the NAgric, we have the Young Farmers Program under the Ministry of Agric and CBN. We have the Public Works Scheme, which is 1,000 jobs in 774 local government, which kicks off on 1st of November. And I think that is going to be far-reaching because it's going to be for 3 months at the first instance, and then it goes on for another 3 months, making a total of 6 months. And, there are quite a number of them. But I think what's important, the lesson for us there, and for me, is that we must ratchet up the numbers of our youth, that we either empower, that we turn into entrepreneurs, or that we support their enterprise. And that's why you have the 75 billion survival fund. If you have SMEs and SMBs, small businesses and SMEs, you can apply for the survival fund and you can get support for salaries or for running your businesses between 30,000 to 100,000. That has been ongoing. The onboarding has started several weeks back, and I think from November, people will start to get this support. And a couple of other programs. The ministry, for instance, under the stimulus plan, the 2.3 trillion stimulus plan, the ministry is getting about 4 billion to do programs of digital skills acquisition, technical skills, coding, training, etc. For all the geopolitical zones, the impact will be national, and we develop the map and the footprint for that. We're just waiting for necessary approvals to start to unload these programs. So I think that there are quite a number of programs, but I think as we come out of this present development, the ministry is putting forward a proposal to have 5 youths selected or nominated by each state. These 5 youths from each state and the FCT will form the National Youth Assembly. Already we have the National Youth Parliament, the Nigerian Youth Parliament, young youth across the country. But we also now want to have a National Youth Assembly. And the work of this assembly will be the 5 youth that will represent each state. We'll be able to come up with the issues and the ideas. This assembly will meet independently, then eventually meet with government and have an interface. We think this engagement should be multi-level, so that at least we can stay concentrated on the issues, identify the ones that are critical, prioritize them, and draw up a plan that eventually will meet the aspirations of the youth of our country.
Well, Honorable Minister, I have a text message here right in front of me. This gentleman says, my name is Okpekende from Ijegun. I want to believe that Bola Tinubu and the governor might know about the killing and the shooting. His political associates might want to put a case of disqualification on him. But who sent those thugs to go and disturb the protests? It is the same thugs that were being sent to the protesters who used the opportunity to loot malls. If the government didn't send thugs, this whole looting wouldn't have happened. The government released a tiger they could not tame. We, the protesters, will re-strategize and come back a month's time for another demand. Nigeria must be great. Okpe Kende from Ijegun. I don't know whether you want to respond to that, but we have another caller on the line. Your name, your location, and please keep it brief. Hello? Yes.
Hello?
Hello, please go ahead. The minister is hearing you.
Dr. Reuben, Abati, and the Honorable Minister. My name is Somi Uranta. I've been listening to the Honorable Minister, and the plans and all that they have for Nigerians look so good. But there's a lacuna between reality and theory. If all the things they are saying is happening that way, the youth will not be out on the streets protesting. Look, the time has come when Nigerians should be able to get from their leaders the truth of the matter. Let's stop all these highfalutin concepts that are not real. It's not real. Please, stop telling us all these things. These are lies. Lies are upon lies. Abraham Lincoln said, let the people know the truth so that the nation will be free.
Honorable Minister, do you want to respond to?
I'll just respond. I think for the first caller, honestly, he has the legitimacy to, and I respect his views, and the comments. But I just want to say, yes, Nigeria will and must be great again. All I can say is I want to urge patience so that we have the relevant investigations, fact-finding. We put together all the facts, and then we can be on the path to get justice for whatever has happened. What has happened, but what is important and critical is to make sure that there's an investigation, we get the facts of the case, and then we can prosecute. And I want to hold patience on that respect. I listened to Mr. Ranta, and there are Nigerians who have beneficiaries. The government has not, in the past, just released names in the public, but Nigerians, there's data for hundreds of thousands of Nigerians that have benefited from different programs. What I said earlier still stands, that there's a need to accelerate and ratchet up the numbers that benefit, given the sheer population of our youth. So that if you have a program, it might not just be enough to have 100,000 people benefit. We must find the funding and whatever is necessary to make sure that it reaches out very deep and to a large number so that the impact can be massive. And that's the lesson we have seen. But a lot of Nigerians are benefiting and have benefited from these programs.
We have another caller on the line. Your name, your location, and please keep it very brief.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Anthony. I'm calling from Mafoluku.
From Mafoluku, please go ahead.
Yeah, I've listened to the Honorable Minister, and it's a pity that what has happened, but I just want to plead with the government. What he is doing now is what he would have done before. They need to engage the people, they need to communicate with the people, they need to know what the government policies are. Far beyond partisan politics. Let Nigerians know what you're doing and what your plans are. You cannot run a government when the people doesn't trust the government. It doesn't work that way. So let the government join hands with the people. This government is for the people. So let them know what you're doing. Let them know your plans. And everything will be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you. The minister heard you clearly. But we'll take another call before we ask the minister to respond. Your name, your location, and please be brief.
My name is Reuben.
Hello. Please, can you turn down the volume of your radio so that we can hear you clearly?
Okay, my name is Raphael. I'm calling from Preston.
Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly now.
At first, when this whole campaign thing of NSAS started up, I actually gave kudos to the Honorable Minister for joining and he was actually the one that started the movement before we all took part into it. So my own reason of calling was about the shooting in Preston, in the toll gate, sorry. To date, the government of this country have not made any contribution concerning the killings of innocent Nigerians who are demanding for the right. And I heard this Honorable Minister this morning, I would say, with all due respect, boycotting that explanation. When you ask him about the shooting at the toll gate, he didn't make any reasonable explanation. Likewise, the president of this country. So, me on my own, I've come to understand that maybe this government of this country don't really care about the people of Nigeria. They're just doing whatever deem it fit for their own pocket.
Well, Minister Dare, you heard him, and he expressed his concern. What do you have to say to the point that he raised?
I think that I've been on several interviews, and what I've said is that first, I condemn, and in very strong terms, the use of the army against protesters. It is unacceptable. In fact, the use of live bullets is also unacceptable because there are acceptable practices of, if you want to disperse protesters. So I'm totally against it. It's not the right thing to do. But also, I think whatever happens in Lekki, and people died all over the country, Lekki, in several states, I think that is also unacceptable. And I think that justice needs to be served. But also, the part of justice also requires and demands that there's an investigation, that all the facts are brought to the table, and a decision is taken. And I said the president has indeed ordered an investigation, a multi-level investigation. And I think it's important because this has become an international issue. It's a national trial. It's a national issue. There's a need to find the culprits, get the facts, and prosecute and bring them to book. And that's why I said it's important that we just wait to see. There's no denial here. There's no denial. There's no denial. It's just that the fact the president must have all the facts. I personally, I've apologized for all that has happened because this was a peaceful protest with genuine concerns and demands, not just for the youth, but also for the generality of Nigerians. Beyond the youth, adults and old people, other Nigerians have been brutalized by the NSAS and all that has happened. So I thank the youth for what they have done, support their campaign. But also we've had an unfortunate situation in which we've had infiltration. We've seen multi-dimension of what has happened. We don't even have answers to all of this. And I think that a little thing is to allow the necessary levels of government and institutions and security in their comfort. This is something right before us. It's not something that can be hidden. And then when we have all the facts, we expect government to do what is right, to serve the cause of justice.
Okay, we have another caller on the line. Please go ahead. Your name, your location, and please be brief. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Solomon, and I'm calling from Ogba, Lagos. My contribution this morning is that the people in power should realize that this is not just about police brutality. It's demanding for a better Nigeria, a country where people can live, work, and enjoy the benefits of their labor. A country that plays premium on hard work, on creativity, and what you have. Are we not sad? You have people working as security men, petrol attendants in advanced countries, and they are living a better life compared to some so-called managers here in Nigeria. Government keep telling us every day there's no money, they are broke, they are removing this, they are removing that. But we have not seen a single initiative to reduce the cost of governance. We have lawmakers, ministers, and all of them living large. I was watching China's TV yesterday, and Senator Ndume told us his salary is 600,000 naira. And I asked, can 600,000 sustain the kind of lifestyle they are living? Let's be honest with ourselves. We have a country where less than 5% of the populace enjoy the wealth of this country, and then people are living in poverty. The incident that happened has shown us how dangerous our society is. All the people you see on the roads, not the protesters now, those guys that are looting and doing all manner of havoc, they are jobless. And politicians meet most of them. It is high time our leaders call themselves to sit down.
Well, thank you very much. On that note, we would like to invite the Honorable Minister, who I understand has another engagement in a few minutes, just to respond to the last three speakers. Honorable Minister.
I want to thank the last three speakers. They've made very valid points, very, very valid and legitimate points about the need to for government to do more for not just the youth. That beyond the NSAS, government needs to do more for Nigerians in terms of good governance, but also in terms of making sure that the support, the empowerment necessary goes round in an equitable manner. And I think that, like the President said in the speech, that the youth have spoken and that he as President has had loud and clear. And I say this President has been at work for this country, so he has also been at work to meet the demands of the youth, both the ones that are listed as 5 demands, but also the very tangential demands that we've seen. On my part as Minister of Youth and Sport, I know that what I've been told to do to make sure that we expand and deepen our programs to ratchet up the numbers as quickly as possible. And then to, most importantly, we're building a new database for the Nigerian youth in such a way that you have youth that are unemployed, those that are underemployed, those that are employed, We also have their, skill set, their certifications, such that we can, in a way, plan better and reach out to the most needful and also know exactly what they want. And I think that the points that have been made are valid. I've taken notes. Just yesterday, I had the second virtual town hall meeting for the youth. We had the first one last Friday, and then we had one yesterday. We had over 13,000 youth join us in that town hall meeting. And I brought two ministers, the Minister of State Labor, the Minister of Women Affairs. That's an engagement I hope to sustain so that Nigerians can hold the feet of those that govern them to fire. They can ask relevant questions. They can put forward ideas. From that meeting we had yesterday, it was 2 hours, 30 minutes. And we took notes. We got very brilliant suggestions. And it was from there that they said, look, if we have a help desk, it will help us because we need information. And after that meeting, I approved the setup of a help desk, a national youth help desk for the entire country in the next 1 week. And we're going to make sure whatever comes in there, we provide support. And a couple of other very powerful suggestions came on, which we have put together, process it, and pass it on to the relevant authorities. And I think that we must continue to engage. We must continue to engage. I know there's no timeline for change because change is incremental. Change is not a one-episode thing. It's several episodes and acts. And I think that if we work together with government, if we, in good faith, exercise a bit of restraint and give the benefit of the doubt, we can begin to see this incremental change that will eventually back the kind of Nigeria that we want.
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports Development of the Federal Government of Nigeria, for joining us today on City Talks with Reuben Abati on City 105.1 FM here in the city of Lagos. If you are listening, I think we should let the minister move on. He has another urgent engagement, and in any case, our time is up. I would like to thank all of you who have listened, who have been part of this conversation, and all of you also who joined us on Twitter and Instagram. Remember, the conversation does not end here. You can reach out to me on my social media account at Abati1990, both on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget to tune in same time next week for another exciting edition of City Talks. My name is Reuben Abati. City Talks was produced by Adedoja Allen, Abiodun Odunton, Ayodamola Oludara, Oluwaseun Adetitun, and Olanrewaju Elbama Onepede Jr. Have a great weekend. We'll be here again next Saturday. Thank you.
City Talks with Reuben Abati.